Have you ever wondered what it means to be a Christian soldier? I know that as a combat veteran and trained theologian, I'm still wrestling with what it might mean that Christian soldiers are not just caricatures of like crusaders or something, but they're actual human beings. There are something like 20 million veterans in America, and over 90% of all military personnel identify as Christian. So this is a very real question for something like 18 million Christians. If you want to think about what it means to be a Christian soldier with me in terms of the Bible, join me every Wednesday this Lent, beginning March 1st at 5 o'clock Pacific time, either online or in person at St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Laguna Beach, California. We'll begin the Bible study with part one in darkness. And we will start in darkness because when Jesus begins his ministry, according to Matthew, he cites Isaiah 9, where it talks about the land of Zebulun and Naphtali and how they lived or sat or dwelled in darkness. Part two, we're going to be talking about fighting. We're going to talk about Exodus 15:3 and what it means that God is a man of war, an Is Milhamah. We'll discuss Hebrew fighting words and the way that the Hebrew Bible talks about soldiers, armies, battles, and war. Then in part three, we're going to be talking about family. We'll talk about how the Holy Family, Mary, Joseph, God, and Jesus, and what it means that if God is a warrior, Jesus is a military brat. But more importantly, that Jesus' own name in his own native tongue, Yehoshua, is drawing upon the military commander of the sixth book of the Bible, Joshua, son of Nun. But furthermore, it's also drawing upon another Joshua, Joshua ben Jehozadak, who was the first high priest to return from exile in Babylon to rebuild or build the second temple, and who the prophet Ezra saw with a crown on his head as a priest king, a callback to Genesis 14 and Melchizedek in the Battle of Siddim. In part four, we'll talk about Fatherland and what it means that the Holy Family was a military family, and it grew up. It began in a military town. Nazareth of Galilee, Isaiah 9 calls the land of non-Jews. Galil, the district, Hagoyim, of non-Jews. And so after we talk about Nazareth, we're going to be talking in part five about faith. We're going to talk about how the Hebrew word where we get Nazareth, Nazar, where it originates with the Nazarites and the Nazarite vow. The Nazarite vow democratized holiness by bringing it out of the exclusive realm of the high priest and brings it down to everybody. Men, women, anybody could live this holy life as a Nazarite. I'm going to talk specifically about soldier saints in the New Testament that often go underappreciated, who are the light to whom military families in the wider church are looking. And so the concluding part, I will talk about light, what it means to see the transfiguration of soldiers, veterans, and military families, and what does it mean to adopt a martial hermeneutic and take what we learn in this Bible study and apply it to our own faith and ask our pastors and our theologians and our professors to do the same, to give military families, soldiers, veterans in the church a fair shake, and to look at the Bible on its own terms and to dig into those places that so many civilians are often uncomfortable exploring and are unfamiliar with examining the territory, the scriptural territory of military service.